It was, because we both grew up relatively poor. I mean, we weren't, like, searching for food on the street, but definitely, you know, um, poorer, and I, uh, had this image, which is actually something that happened when I was a kid. My parents, on the 1st of the month, would sit at the kitchen table, open up the checkbook, have all the bills, and they would walk through that and say, "Are we going to tithe before we pay the bills?" And as a farmer, your income can fluctuate greatly based on grain prices and production of your corn and beans and cattle and all that sort of stuff. And so just have this vivid image of my mom and dad. They weren't arguing, but it was an intense conversation. And they were like, "We're going to give to the church first. We're going to give to that organization first, and God's going to take care of us." And my parents also, in spite of how hard they worked, they also volunteered and, volunteer firemen in the church and things like that. And they lived very metaphorically, they lived very open-handed versus closed-handed, close-fisted. And I was maybe married 5 years, 2 little kids. I had just become self-employed, and so I didn't have much income, and but we were like one of those, let's put a couple bucks in the plate every week, you know? And every time I did that, I just had this, like, something going, "You're not honoring scripture, you're not honoring your parents' faith and values and what you're called to do." And Kim and I talked about that, and we're like, we don't even know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna start doing it." And we did. And it was scary, but it was also so freeing. And I just started seeing example after example of how generosity just came back to people in amazing ways.
Every
And
time.
so we started tithing, and then maybe, so it was like 25 years ago, and then about 10 years ago. No, 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 it was more than that. It was probably 5 years after that. We said, let's not tithe, let's do 80-10-10." So we're gonna live on 80. We live pretty frugally, always. We're gonna invest 10, and we're gonna give away 10. And so one of my, like, biggest messages is, don't wait to start this, okay? The further down the trail you are right now, the less impact it has. The sooner you start, the greater impact that it will have in your life. And so when Kim retired 8, 9 years ago, we just started looking at where we were with what we had invested and some pension and my continuing to work and all that. And we're like, we can give away a lot more than 10% and still be very comfortable and live a very, wonderful life. And so we did. And we had some really interesting, sometimes difficult conversations about how are we going to do that? Because we have kids and grandkids and we do want to do, something nice for them down the road. And we came to a really great agreement around this. And it's been wonderful to do increased giving and see the impact of that. It's not a bad thing for somebody to leave all their money in their estate to their kids and some charities or whatever, but it's also a wonderful thing to see it happening right now.